And the Fritz Beebe Fellowship, endowed by Larry and Anne Martz. This award is aimed specifically at international business journalism. The winner is Yi-Ling Liu of Yale, who wrote about a Taiwanese bookstore attempting to crack the Great Firewall on the Chinese mainland. She has a fellowship with the AP in Beijing. Presenting are Larry and Anne Martz.
Hi, everyone. When I was 15, I worked as an intern at the state-run news institution, China Daily. And I remember at the time I was writing some pretty politically harmless, benign articles, one of which was a travelogue on Eastern Europe. And I was describing this particular square in Prague, Wenceslas Square. And the first line that I used was, "This is where in 1989, thousands of young Czech youth gathered to celebrate the toppling of the communist regime." So day after I handed in the piece, that line was kind of swiftly and insidiously plucked out. And 15-year-old me, naive old me, I was infuriated. I was indignant. It was a tiny little line out of an Eastern Europe travelogue, but it sparked a long-term fascination and frustration with reporting in a nation like China, rich with untapped stories and yet constrained by rigid censorship. Today, I'm still grappling with the very questions that I was grappling with at 15. How do you write truthfully and effectively about issues in an authoritarian state? When faced with the problem of creative constraint, how do we tell stories through alternative forms of media, be it photography or virtual reality? How can a foreign correspondent operate in a nation where freedom of press cannot be taken for granted? How do we straddle the roles of the insider and the outsider? I've tried all kind of roundabout ways to address this issue, dipping my toes in Hollywood, for example, because I was going through this crisis where I realized Taxi Driver in Tianjin is not reading The New Yorker, but he's watching Interstellar. I became quickly disillusioned with Hollywood, but that's a different story. I went to Taiwan last summer to look at the translation and publishing industry because I wanted to see how something like a Taiwanese bookstore chain trying to make its inroads into the mainland Chinese market could potentially chip away at this great firewall that people talk about all the time. Recently, I've been particularly interested in cross-cultural education exchanges between the United States and China, particularly the future of mass online education in Beijing, which I hope to explore while I'm at the AP in Beijing, as well as the importing of the liberal arts model of education to Chinese universities. So I have a ton of questions, and I'm not expecting to find any answers anytime soon, but I play the slow and steady game, and all I can say is I'm grateful for the foundation for giving me the money and the opportunity and the confidence to go looking for those answers. Thank you.